All right, Eric. Why is Louisiana 1927 the standout track from Good Old Boys?
So if you think of the two halves of the album, there's this Johnny Cutler half, and then there's this historical painting of the South as the second half, and this kicks off that second half. And it details this true story about a flood in Louisiana in 1927 that destroyed a large chunk of it, and the sort of like lack of a real government response in alleviating that situation. And you might be able to see where I'm going with this and its continued relevance to today. But it's this like historical tragedy that keeps repeating itself and will repeat itself again, not necessarily in the South specifically, not necessarily in Louisiana, but this idea that there is this structural failing in our country that always lands on a specific population. And in this case, in the song, it kind of hints at, doesn't quite explicitly say, but hints at the singer of the song is a black person. And the repeated chorus is that they're trying to wash us away. Calvin Coolidge sends, I think, Herbert Hoover down to like address the situation. And he says, it's like, what has the river done to this cracker's land or something? And the idea that the government is only focused on how this is affecting white people.
Sure.
And that there is no real thought to black people. And maybe it's also used to their advantage, where it's like, oh, well, we cleared that out. Now we can build this up to what we want it to be, which kind of sets up the Huey Long song to follow this one. But the idea that this is like coming back again throughout cycles of history, that this song was sung a lot during Katrina. They kind of adapted parts of it to be more about President Bush's response or lack of response. And I don't know, it's just this, it kind of cuts to the heart of what this whole album is about in a way. And I should also mention that there's this intertextuality between this and another one of his more controversial songs, and also probably one of his more famous songs, Sail Away, which is not on this album, but is much like to what you said, Michael, earlier about like listening to Rednecks and not really understanding what's going on until you like read the lyrics and you're like, oh my goodness. That is another song that has that effect on people, sort of like Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen, where that first listen, you're not really latching onto something, but he does use a very strange racial epithet that I would say I had never heard of before until I heard that song.
In Sail
Away. Yes, because the song,
Michael,
it sounds
you're familiar with Sail Away?
Not that one as much. But...
Okay, listeners, if you're not familiar with Sail Away, it's done from the perspective of a slave trader, basically.
Okay.
The captain of a slave boat. Am I?
Yes, he's trying to sell the idea of America as a promised land to potential slaves,
African slaves. Yeah.
So when you are listening to it, it sounds like, oh, it's extolling the virtues of this like beautiful American land, but it's actually, it's got this sinister underpinning. But the harmonic structure of Sail Away and Louisiana 1927 are almost identical. If you listen to one and then the other, you'll be like, oh, there's even some melodic stuff going there. And I think there's a thematic connection there where here is the origins in Sail Away of America's sin. And then here is the ramifications on how it's continued in our society today.
It's just crazy to me though, because like I feel like so much of these things you're mentioning about these songs, like I guess it's like blink and you'll miss it. And it makes me question like what his true intention is, because it's in some cases like, in Rednecks it's overt, but then in some of the later songs, it's like these little things that get dropped along the way to make the commentary that you don't realize unless either someone points you to like check out the lyrics or you're listening to it differently someday. I mean, I just think about like, what's the song about the wedding? What's it called on the album? Wedding.
It is called like a wedding in
wedding
Cherokee.
Wedding in Cherokee County. Like, I just think about how the thing that like stuck out to me about that song was talking about people laughing at his mighty sword or something like that. Like there's just all these the songs on the album are all just so full of Easter eggs. It just totally changes my perspective on him as a musical artist, because his Toy Story-ness is so upfront that like we don't expect this from him, and then he doesn't deliver it overtly. He's not beating you over the head with it, and it's always delivered in this like major key or like endearingly minor key sort of style to it.
Mm-hmm. The dressings of that. And then it doesn't seem to me like he's really outspoken as a quote-unquote activist or anything like that. It doesn't seem like that's really his role that he plays. So it's buried in this discography that I think if it was done by somebody, if it was done like by a Woody Guthrie type, or Billy Bragg or something like
Pete
that.
Seeger.
Yeah, Pete Seeger. It would almost make so much more sense there. But here it's like, oh no, I just left that there a little bit, and it hasn't ruined my reputation. It hasn't prevented me from mainstream success. Maybe that's down to, the family connection and maybe the attitude with which it's done. It's definitely an element of privilege of him being the white guy that's saying, that's like playing this role and like has the privilege to do that and like still maintain his public stature. It's complex. It's a very complex sort of thing.
Novelistic in a way where it's almost like I read Ulysses 2 years ago for the first
Congratulations.
time. Yeah, I know. I got to try to work that into as many conversations as possible. Now that it's on like a recording too, that's going to be great for me. But it's similar in a way where it's like each chapter, it never announces what it's about, and you don't really get a context of what it is until you're so deep into it, of like even who the main character is at that moment. And each chapter is its own like formal thing. Like one of them is like a play for some reason, and so you're always on your back foot engaging with it, and once you kind of find that hook, it like drags you deeper and like can recontextualize a previous song even, or recontextualize what the whole intent of the album is, where we don't even get this sort of like bird's eye view until 4 or 5 songs in, where most of the time we're living in the head of this guy who doesn't think he's racist but clearly is, and it takes work from the listener to engage with that too, which you don't expect too much with a lot of albums.
It makes a lot of the song, like I think of the 1 minute song "Every Man a King," like sounds so, after everything that comes before it. Like, I mean, I guess in that respect, this is what makes it does feel more like a musical in the way he sort of sets things up. When you get to that song, it's this sort of like, I think it's got this sort of like rah rah, hey, aren't we awesome? But it's like, it's short. The vocals are fine, but not great. And it's supposed to be the celebratory song, and all these guys are singing, and it just sounds like...
Not just any guys, mind you. Do you know who else is singing on that?
No, who else is singing on that?
The members of the Eagles.
What is? That's
yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. Very strange.
That's so, because then it just feels like
so
it sounds so weak.
Yeah.
And
well,
like...
Did you look into the origin of that at all?
No, I didn't get to. Yeah,
that is the only song on the album that is not written by Randy Newman. That song was written by Huey Long. So that was Huey Long's campaign song that he wrote himself, which sets up the following song. So it is, which would be very resonant for people in Louisiana, which is what he's discussing.
Yes.
And if you were putting this on stage, that would make more sense. But, like I said, this is like one of those things. It's like, if you didn't know, you're like, why is this like drunken demo on this album? But does kind of set up the following song, Kingfish, which is about Huey Long. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, which is exactly the point that we were just talking about, of like engaging with it in a way that is more active on the listener's end than on...
It requires something.
This album's an onion. Just
Yeah.
Well, Eric, the last time you were here, you were talking about a soundtrack, kind of more like I mean, technically a cast recording. Hopefully our listeners and viewers can sort of see the parallels between that and this one. But we're wondering, do your standards of perfection still hold up? Is this, or did you find that you had to kind of like recalibrate in order to determine what makes this particular album perfect for you?
When I think of like greatest albums of all time, or like, top 10 albums, I'm thinking of like an album, right? Like it has to function within itself. It has to kind of like relate to one another in a way that other collections of singles don't really. And when I think of like certain things that I listen to a lot, like, or like things that I was attracted to early on, or have personal relationships with, a lot of that is like collection of singles that I find are fun. But then there's like the albumness of everything puts it into a different category for me of like what I find to be perfection, which is like thoughtfulness or artistic expression on a level that goes beyond just like one song. And I think this is like the perfect case of that, of someone thinking about the album as an art form that goes beyond, I don't know, just like playing things on the radio, right? Like this is not something that's designed to be played on the radio. It's like the most successful song cannot be played on the radio. Like it would be nuts to put the number one song from this album on the radio. Which,
if you can't play Carlin on the radio, then you can't play the Rednecks on the radio, right?
But it also has these like songs that I find so dear to my heart, like Marie, like you mentioned. Like I love that song so much.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
That can function on its own, but also has like such a specific function within the course of the album itself that is different from what I find interesting about the song on its own. When I think a lot of people's perceptions of concept albums on the whole are like rock operas or like kind of like cheesy stuff from the 70s, that this is not, right? This is like, this feels, like I said, novelistic in a way that sets it apart, and puts it on like a different echelon of what a concept album can be. So I think that answers the question.
So what it sounds like you're saying is that it's what makes it a perfect album is how much of an album it is.
Yeah,
it's kind of
it's
like
the theatricality of it, right? Like I could
Yeah,
see
yeah.
this interpreted as a piece of theater. I could see this interpreted in a novel. I could see this interpreted as a film. Like he's thinking of it narratively, in a way that's subtle and not just like, oh, this is my story of Johnny Cutler anymore. This is like, yes, Johnny Cutler's there if you want to find him. They're all in conversation with one another.
Which
you
sometimes
can find
that can be defined by different things. Like I think rumors, the more we've talked about rumors over the years, either on the episode proper or, in passing, it's more about like, it's almost like the lore is what connects all those songs together.
That's something that is in conversation with the band as an entity, and less so with like the actual like songs themselves. Like you cannot talk about that album without talking about Fleetwood Mac as a whole.
Rumors isn't a concept album. It's a concept album on the band, is basically what
that's performance art. If anything,
it's performance art. Right, exactly.
And the fact that like you're connecting the artist to the art. I mean, like this album, the fact that this album has been made by Randy Newman is part of the story. Like it can't, if some other artist recorded this, it would not. It would have a different impact. Maybe not the same, but probably still impactful. But like, his identity is part of the story.
Absolutely. It is funny to think about like Pixar being the thing we all know him by, where like imagine if like Billy Bragg were like, I don't know, the DreamWorks guy all of a sudden. Like it's just like I don't know how he got it.
I love Billy Bragg. Yeah.
Before we go to deliberation, I have a nerdy musical question for you, Eric.
Yeah.
What's going on the song Guilty, and why does it make my ears hurt? Like as part of like, is it feels like it must be intentional, right? There's something happening there that's dissonant, right? Yeah.
So he, I think, very like carefully employs certain dissonant stuff. I mean, Guilty is one. I also think Kingfish has that. That opening of Kingfish is very dissonant in a way that I think is intentional in a way. And with Guilty, I think it's mostly to characterize this sort of like drunken attitude, because this is a song about dealing with, well, at this point it would be Johnny Cutler's use of drugs and alcohol to sort of like numb his this missing hole in his life. But I also think it's a conversation about how the South feels about itself, where it's like, yes, we are guilty and we're going to self-medicate with whatever we can to deal with that. And so there is this sort of like slightly sinister underpinning to it, but in a way that is like mellowed out. So I think there's some of that going on. You know, Randy does pull a lot of the same moves harmonically in his songwriting. And he's got that like sort of, I guess you could call it like a chordal walk down kind of feel to it, or like there's a thing in music theory called a kesh. I forget what it actually is, like what it stands. It's like an acronym, CESH. It's like, but it's basically like shifting like a static harmony with like one like note kind of moving chromatically. It's hard to explain in words because I'm just used to like playing it, but like he does a lot of that stuff, like this sort of like
tricks.
Yeah, it's like sort of jazzy, but not quite the jazz that you're thinking of. It's not like progressive jazz. It's like, I don't know, old school like stuff. So he's pulling a lot of that Americana sound. Oh, and I guess like he's also pulling stuff from, obviously in this song, minstrel songs, if you can imagine. Or like the that sort of like 1880s sort of like Camptown races or like stuff like that.
Yeah. Stephen Foster.
Yeah, Stephen Foster. He's definitely like in conversation with Stephen Foster in this album specifically.
Okay, on that note, we've heard the case that Eric has built for this album. Pretty sterling case. So I think it's time that we deliberate, Michael. What do we call that phase?
We call it the
deliberation
phase. We're getting good at this now. We're getting really like from time zones away.
Yeah. Psychically linked.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so Eric, you built your case. Now we're going to deliberate. Michael, I think you started first last time, so I'm going to go ahead and start first this time. I mean, well, part of this is always like how much does the album that our guest has chosen just scream that person? And I mean this in the best possible way, Eric, but this album screams Eric Richardson. Like it is class consciousness built into its very DNA, the literary bent to it, the musical theater of it all. Like this, it had to be something like this. For you, if it wasn't going to be actual Sondheim, which it was your first time.
Yes,
so, so that's a big mark in your favor is just, I'm like, okay, he's in his wheelhouse right now. I know that Eric's going to come and kind of have all of the citations necessary for building a case for an album like this. And you did, like kind of understanding you're a rabbit hole diver. That's another thing I love about you. Like to hear that this was sort of like I wonder what Randy Newman, what other kind of stuff Randy Newman did early in his career. Like going down a rabbit hole. I can totally see you going down that rabbit hole and kind of seeing where that bore fruit for you. Like understanding kind of like the richness and the idiosyncratic nature of this artist. I think all of that is made like really, really clear by this, and also just a frankness. There's a frankness about this album that I think is unapologetic, maybe almost to a fault, but I think that's maybe the nature of being unapologetic about things. Is like, if you're not going to apologize for the art that you want to make, that you have to really never apologize for the art that you make, even if it crosses the line sometimes. So I think you've been able to weave a case for the album that supports it on that level, which is essential. What else are you remembering, Michael? What else is kind of swaying your decision here?
Not anything specific, because I was just thinking to myself about what this conversation felt like to me. And in many ways, it felt like a very engaging class because, and I'm like, again, I mean that as someone who is currently, because it's just my understanding of the album increased over time the more we talked about it, and that was largely due to the very specific detailed information that you had ready to share, the way you were able to sort of like change our perspective on a few things and like provide the context for things. I don't know, it just felt very much like, I don't know, sir, if you are a teacher, if you should consider educating the youths every once in a while. I mean, because at his heart, Randy Newman is a storyteller, musician, and a storyteller in the broadest implications of that term. And yeah, I mean, I'll say what Tyler said. Like, it does sort of like, it feels well aligned with the Eric Matthew Richardson. It's you're a songwriter. You have a theatrical mind. So
yeah, I expected this to be pretty down my alley when I presented it.
Yeah.
100%.
So, I mean, yeah, I think I found this highly engaging, very informative, but it's not just up to me, Eric. It's also up to Tyler. So, Tyler, you've heard Eric's case. You've digested all the information. The time has come. What do you think? Is Randy Newman's Good Old Boys a perfect album? Does it go to 11? Can it join the pantheon?
You better believe it does.
Oh my God.
We made it this far in the episode and nobody did a Randy Newman impression.
Okay. Well, right before we got on, I just had to watch. There was an SNL sketch from a long time ago where they did a fake movie. No, it was SNL where they did a fake movie called Bunny Business, and it was.
I know which one this is.
It was a commercial for this movie, but not for the movie, for the soundtrack to the movie, featuring all these. It's a chance for all the cast to do like impressions, and so Fred Armisen does this impression of Randy Newman writing the song, going like, "Bunnies wear its suits." But like it's doing a pretty good vocal impression, because everyone can do a vocal impression of Randy Newman. Let's be real.
That part didn't make it into my 60-second intro. Is that I fully expect that all of us have a Randy Newman impression in our back pocket for emergencies.
Should we go around the horn real quick and everyone do their
you
quick?
Heard mine. What's yours, Eric?
All right, I gotta see if I can do.
Short people got no reason.
No, it's not there. It's not there. I'm sorry.
We didn't even talk about short people. Also.
Yeah, we didn't talk about short people.
Offensive too,
Yeah.
Okay, Eric, what a treat. You're the best. Miss you so much. Thanks for coming back on and doing this. We got a moment for you to shout out anything you want to. You're a busy guy, booked and blessed. Like they
sort
keep
of,
you.
No.
You stay booked and blessed.
Yeah.
What do you want to shout out? Or either something that you're doing or just other things that you want people to know about?
Yeah. I don't know what I can say right now because nothing is on the actual books yet. But at some point this year, there will be a presentation of my a cappella musical Ahita the Cabin somewhere, and so keep. My guess is it'll happen sometime in the summer. When is this coming out?
This is coming out in February.
Either late February or early March.
So there might not. I don't know. I don't know what. There's stuff. It'll happen. The other thing that I'm working on. I'm working on a musical about professional wrestling right now. That is getting towards the end of the first draft. That I think will. It's looking like we'll have some sort of reading. So if you're in the Chicago area, you're more than welcome to come to that. Apart from that. I don't know.
What's your socials?
Listen,
just for the hell
yeah, my socials. Basically anywhere I'm at the EMR Music. And then you can go to my website, which is ericmatthewrichardson.com. And nice. I don't know. I barely post on social media, so check me out. But I might not be there.
When I see your username, I always want to say it as the Mr. Music.
Mr. Music, yeah. Did you ever see that Mr. Music sketch from John Mulaney's thing with Jake Gyllenhaal?
Wait.
Yes.
No, I've seen little bits of it. Yes.
So uncomfortable. It's great.
Where he's like he's wearing the shirt that has like xylophone things on it.
Yeah, it's like a PBS show or something.
Yeah, and Gyllenhaal's talented.
But he's no the EMR Music talented. I mean,
he sure is.
I appreciate an actor going for it with comedy. Like I'm sure you all have seen this, but like we were just rewatching documentary now, Waiting for the Artist, where Cate Blanchett does the Maria Abram. Like, I mean, mwah, like that is it's so good. So
documentary now is also right up the Eric Richardson alley.
Hey, we should do the co-op episode for the next one.
Also so good. The brown and the beige. Yes. I'm sure we talked about that on your episode.
We must.
I'm sure.
We must have mentioned it. It might not have been out. I don't know.
I
can't remember.
It was
out. It was out.
Yeah. At the co-op, baby. Okay. Well,
we gotta go.
Follow people. We gotta go. This is fun. We love you. Follow us on socials if you want. keep hanging out with us for season 10, send us an email, send us a letter. If you want my address to send me a letter, why don't you send us an email and I'll send you the address there. How about that?
Wait, you're inviting our listeners to like send you like snail mail?
If they want to. Friction,
What's
baby.
snail mail? What's snail mail up to these days?
Going on tour.
I have a P.O. box, if you can believe it.
I
can.
100% can believe that about you, actually. We should probably get a P.O. box because
Yeah.
inviting snail mail would be really fun. And snail mail, I believe, is going on tour. Let's talk about snail mail on our next episode. How about that, Michael?
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Another reason to come back. That means it's always time to say bye.
Bye.
See ya.